So the series is 12 movements, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video for each of the movements in detail, and then I'll do a video that's just kind of holding each one and doing it kind of, I don't know, not that detailed, so it doesn't take forever to watch or to pay attention to. So, Daoist awaits the dawn. The first heavy hands movement is just like standing post. So if you've never done standing post, the things to pay attention to first of all are the alignment of the body. So you want to stack essentially the bones of the body in order to release the muscularity. So when I'm doing this, what I need to do is put my tailbone downwards, slight pelvic tilt, some people call it. And what that means is that it's pointing between my heels, okay? Once it's pointing between my heels and my lower back starts to flatten a little bit, and then I can actually stack the rest of my spine up above it. The other big point is to get the neck to open. And this is sometimes referred to as look forward, listen backwards. My dog is tied up. So when I'm doing that, people talk about being suspended from above by a string. And that basically means that I'm lengthening my neck and pulling my chin backwards. That's the big trick here. So once I get to that position, so I'm actually kind of standing, then what you need to do is start Daoist awaits the dawn. So there's a golf ball under each arm, and that's just to open up each of the armpits so that blood and lymph can flow. And I'm letting my fingers fall however is natural, okay? So some people, everybody's gonna have a different look to their hands, but that's okay. So whatever seems natural to you. And each of the postures is held for 8 to 12 breaths. And I'll do another little video maybe on the breathing or whatever, but right now it doesn't really matter. If you know Buddhist breathing, do that. If you know Taoist breathing, do that. If you don't know either, just take long, deep breaths, okay? That's Daoist awaits the dawn. So by reaching through my fingertips, especially my index, I point down towards the ground, seat my shoulders, pull my scapula towards my waist. This is the second posture. I come up to about shoulder height or just above with my hands. Now my fingers are upwards, and it's like my pinky finger and my thumb are resting on a table, like I could sit them on something, okay? This is Immortal points the way. And again, I'll just make this a quick, brief video so you can see the postures. 8 to 12 breaths here. Index finger is the highest. I'm making sure that my elbows kind of point down. I'm not up like this. I don't have my shoulders near my ears. And after 8 to 12 breaths in this posture, you slowly settle back down to what looks like Daoist awaits the dawn. The reason it's got a different name, it's called heavy hands, is because now the whole purpose of this posture is to feel the blood and lymph rushing down into your hands. Okay, you're looking for that feeling of heaviness. You're just feeling it, and you're just observing. Okay, you're not trying to make it happen. That's what's really important. So I observe that feeling of the blood and lymph rushing. 8 to 12 breaths here, and then I do penetrate the mountain passes. So penetrate the mountain passes is a little bit more tricky. I'm going to bring my palms up my body, and this is a positive spiral, if you will. So I'm pulling my thumbs outwards while my elbows come in, and then once I've reached my rib cage, then I'm going to change that spiral and spiral my fingers over the top, thumbs coming inward into a negative. So I've actually got a positive turn in my elbow with a negative turn in my hand. Okay, my fingers are in their natural state again. So whatever they were here, they're like that here. And what I'm doing in Penetrate the Mountain Passes is I'm pulling backwards with my whole spine against my fingertips, okay? Really important. The visualization here, of which there's only, well, maybe I'll do all the visualizations in a different video. Oh, my dog's gonna go running. Dublin! Good boy. Okay. Is that your fingers are growing across wherever you are. So I'm out in the park, they're growing across to a fence I can see. And while they extend outwards, my back extends backwards. But not just part of my back. It's not just my fingertips and back on that line. The whole spine is supposed to pull backwards. So you end up with this kind of sitting down feeling, okay, as you counterbalance your fingers in your hands. Next posture from there, I come down like I'm holding a pregnant belly. Okay, so my belly's here, and I'm holding it right around where my belly button would be. And this is Cradle the Celestial Embryo. Now in this one, the image that you're trying to kind of put in your mind is that people are trying to push in and squish your belly, and you're holding them at bay. 8 to 12 breaths, cradle to celestial embryo. Sink a couple of inches, come up above your head, palms out, and this is open the window to look at the moon. So what I'm doing here is I'm imagining that I'm pushing something up, like the roof or something, with my pinky finger to my wrist, okay, the knife edge of the hand. And from there, I'm going to also be keeping my posture straight, but my eyes look up to look at the moon, okay? So this is my window, I look up at the moon. Just a brief description of each of these. 8 to 12 breaths. From there, I'm going to come back up out of my 2-inch drop, and I'm going to go into what looks like standing post, okay, or the tree hugging posture that everybody's usually familiar with. This is called the Great Solar Stance. The idea about this one is that you have the sun contained here on your chest, and it's trying to expand outwards in all directions, not just forward, but backward. It's pushing you in all directions, and you're trying to contain it, okay? So I'm actually actively pushing back towards my chest with my palms and pushing my elbows slightly towards one another. 8 to 12 breaths. Great Solar Stance. Gotta watch the dog. Now, I'm going to tuck the elbows to the ribs, pull the hands back so that the long bones of the arms, the radius and the ulna, are extended, and sink 4 inches. And this is fire palms. Fire palms, the biggest thing to remember here is that you're actively pushing downwards in your heels while you push forward with your hands. So it's really not your arms pushing, it's my feet. I mean, if I exaggerate it, right? My feet push the ground and that pushes my hands forward. Fire palms, 8 to 12 breaths. Then I rise up out of my stance, fingertips up, and then back down into what looks like Immortal points the way. Main difference here is my hands. In Immortal points the way, as you recall, they were here. Now it's a knife edge. It's really like arm like a sword. So it's from my pinky finger up to my elbow for chopping. And this is like I'm putting my arms on a table on each side, and they're very, very heavy. It's like they're going to go down through that table. We'll go into each of these in more detail, and it's in the book, obviously. 8 to 12 breaths. So now your arms and your shoulders should be suffering pretty heavily. The next two postures are iron body. So from here, I go directly back up over my head into what looks like open the windows to look at the moon, except I'm not concentrating on the knife edge anymore. This is pillar of heaven, and I'm imagining that I'm about to be struck on the front of my body. So if somebody was about to hit me, that means that I would be ready to tense, but I'm not tensing yet. That's the most important thing there, is that you're not tensing yet. It's called innervation. Activating the nervous system in such a way that it's about to activate the muscle. 8 to 12 breaths. My fingertips reach back up and then come down the body for spiritual tortoise. And this is the exact same iron body pose, except it's for your back. So now somebody is about to strike you in the back, and you're about to tense up to deal with the impact, but you're not actually tensing. 8 to 12 breaths. And then finally, back to Daoist awaits the dawn. And in this last posture of Daoist awaits the dawn, you finish the Qigong, and really you stand here until your body sorts itself out. Okay? You should be just allowing things and observing things. That's what's most important, okay? So just let things work themselves out. And that's the basics. That's the 12 postures. Hopefully that'll help to get everybody started.